the hero. When we take a ride, it's a walk. Leaning out the side, take a photo. I wanna be a hero to you. Quiero ser el héroe tuyo. And you can tell me where to go to. Vamos a viajar el mundo. Cause I wanna be a hero to you. Mamacita eres hermosa, sos una diosa. I know you want a hero for you in your life. You can see the sky, I can see your why. You and me tonight, be alive. This could be your life, say it be alright. You a guy, you can feel the vibe, you can see the rise. But I need to see a sign, breathe and kiss and fly. Mamacita, eres toda para mí, eres única. Eres única, y mamacita, ven aquí para mí, eres única, eres única. I wanna be a hero to you. Quiero ser el héroe tuyo. And you can tell me where to go to. Y vamos a viajar el mundo. Cause I wanna be a hero to you. Mamacita eres hermosa, sos una diosa. I know you want a hero for you in your life.
Mami, en el rojo. Me andan diciendo que estás buscando un héroe. Vámonos. Que tienes esa capacidad.
Since the creation of the internet, every industry has been turned upside down. Amazon changed retail. Uber changed transportation. YouTube changed video forever. With the invention, 9 out of 10 millennials do not trust banks. The value of money relies on trust. Government debt is higher than it's ever been before. Central banks continue to print money. Fortunately, the world has a new solution. Experts predict in 7 years, 10% of the world's economy will be in crypto-based assets. Today, 1 billion people have access to the financial industry. Crypto is about empowering the other 6 billion people by banking the unbanked. Do not underestimate this. Do you wish you invested in Google, Amazon, or Netflix before anyone ever knew about them? $1,000 invested in Netflix turned to over $500,000. At Token Metrics, we help you find the next Netflix. Token Metrics users think differently about investing. They are early adopters looking for financial freedom. They are people who see a better world. A world without international borders. We believe in a world where everyone has access to the next financial revolution. At Token Metrics, we are creating a bridge that gets you to that revolution. We will help you make sound investments in this new world. The world's best investors do not rely on their intuition. They embrace technology and AI to invest. Token Metrics uses AI to find invisible patterns in data to help you invest and trade in crypto. In the past, we have used our data-driven system to achieve financial freedom. Now, we are giving you the keys. We created Token Metrics to be the only platform you'll ever need to make money in crypto. We give you AI and access to crypto experts at the best price. The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond.
Disclaimer. Token Metrics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Token Metrics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenmetrics.com/disclosures.
All right. Happy Sunday, Token Metrics Crypto family. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you all for the patience. This is going to be quite a show. In today's show, we'll be covering Binance Smart Chain. Is this the Ethereum killer people have been waiting for? I know last time people were talking about BNB and Binance Pancake swap, but what a week for Binance and BNB. New all-time high. We'll go through with Bill. Bill will do TA on BNB, where BNB is going. I'll share my thoughts on whether it's possible for Binance to ever catch up with Ethereum. And then we'll also go through, as usual, crypto showdown, crypto therapy, and the AMA. So if you have any questions you'd like to submit for the AMA, go to menti.com. That's MENTI.com. And the code is 2864025. That's 2864025. And let's check out the comments. So first person on the show today was Sammy. What's up, Sammy, on YouTube? How are you? Then we have C Sharp on Twitter. How are you? Dustin, James, my dad Zavani, Mark, how are you? Hope you're having fun down there in Australia. Dragon Ball Crypto, let's go. Mike, Business Kuwait, Prince Raider, BTC Motivation. Yes, the songs are amazing. Crypto music makes a bull market last even longer. So make sure to support us. Go to tokenomics.com/music. The songs are available pretty much anywhere on Spotify, on iTunes, on Amazon, anywhere where music is available. All right, Bill, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Ian. Thanks. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh man, never a dull week in crypto. I think that's probably the best thing about crypto. Up or down, there's always something good to talk about when it comes to crypto. And what a week for Binance. What a week for, first of all, Ethereum over 2K. This is something we've been calling for a long time. It's been moving kind of slow, but Ethereum is finally moving. And then over $1 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. What a week. Very, very excited to bring that up. Bill, so how's your week been?
Well, I survived the storm, and as you said, there is tons
I forgot
to
that
talk
too.
about. Yeah, both Ian and I were in the storm. That's actually a part of the market update. So yeah, it was an exciting, eventful week.
Yeah, for those who don't know, there was a winter storm down here in Austin, Texas. Well, actually, in general, in Texas, all of Texas. So most places, my place as well, had no power for over 3 days. I'm actually right now still going between my place, my condo, and a hotel because our entire condo complex has no water. So it's chaotic. But as Bill mentioned, I almost kind of completely forgot that happened because I was just so glued onto the screen on crypto, right? Because crypto is life. Crypto is a lifestyle. But yeah, very, very happy to be alive, thankfully, and just fortunate to be in crypto, right? Because crypto is the future of money. Okay, all right. So I think let's hop straight into the market update. But prior to that, I want to actually make a special announcement here. So market update is now being brought to you by BlockFi. BlockFi is popular platforms for people who want to earn extra yield through crypto, whether yield or whether just being able to get loans on your crypto for Bitcoin and stablecoins. So definitely make sure you go check that out. You can earn a crypto bonus of $250 when you open a new account. Just go to tokenmetrics.com/BlockFi, tokenmetrics.com/BlockFi, or just go to blockfi.com/tokenmetrics. Go there and earn your bonus. Okay, Bill, let's hop straight into the market update.
Okay, so this week, who were the big winners in crypto? Dare I say the centralized entities? No, folks, that's not a typo. The centralized entities were the winners in the decentralized universe, starting with our friends at Coinbase. Their IPO is coming out. First, it was 70 billion. Now it's 100, and it's got that creep to it. So, when this IPO comes out, it will probably be the biggest event in the history of crypto, and that's saying a lot. Now, speaking of the biggest event of the week, Binance. Okay. Never underestimate CZ. The guy came out and said, we're going to develop our own Uniswap type competing product. I want to say everyone laughed And no one was laughing when Binance coin printed 350. Matter of fact, the only way to chart something like this is to use Gann analysis, which was used to trade the wild stock market in the 1920s. So one of our customers actually brought to my attention that I actually did have a decent call on this from earlier in the month in our newsletter. I was thinking parabolic, but I don't think anyone was thinking 350. And that's probably why it went there, because everyone was like, oh my God, I've got to get in. This is the Ethereum killer. Now, realistically, I think this trade has, run its course, right? I mean, I don't want to say there's something wrong with Binance coin, but when they go from 50 to 350 all at once, and it's really emotional, it can give you some pause. Okay. Now, Pancake swap. All right. The token's out. As with Uniswap or any of these tokens, I know it's February 21st. This is the 30-minute chart. So it'll be dated if you're looking at a recording. The optimal thing to do with these type of tokens is to buy them on a dip. With this, we're looking at 1550. One of the themes that we've talked about is that there's going to be more than one DeFi highway. There's going to be more than one way to participate in the alts of your choice. Binance just literally exploded onto the scene, really because I think it held up a sign that says, we're a casino with no fees. Doesn't have anything to do with killing Ethereum. I don't think you can kill something that is both a technology network and money. Somebody just held up a sign that says, hey, gamble here for free, or free beer and pizza. And everyone ran in at the same time. Okay. Speaking of the Ethereum rebellion, okay, Polkadot, prior to Binance, all anyone wants to talk about is Polkadot. And I think it's still the case that people really, really want to talk about all of the small coins that are being released for this protocol. Now with Polkadot, if 35 holds, it can go to 45. I know a lot of people are probably dreaming of a Binance style move here where DOT can do something like go to 100. I'm not going to tell you that can't happen. Just going to remind you that, DOT is not operational, and things like Layer 2 or Ethereum 2.0 are going to be extremely powerful. But the speculative fury around things like Binance and Polkadot are real. Speaking of speculative fury, okay, Cardano. All right, this has been around for a while. It's now just coming online. And again, this is a protest of all these ideas. This is probably the biggest protest trade over the Ethereum gas fees. For new people, gas fees are just the transaction fees to do trades on the Ethereum network. It's so popular and there's so much congestion. It's almost like the toll to use the network has gone up. So when another highway comes online that may have less of a toll, like Cardano, all of a sudden the coin goes from 20 cents to 90, breaks through $1, and the next line I can draw is at $1.50. So who won this week? Centralized players and protesters. Now, meanwhile, Bitcoin's worth $1 trillion. So there's that whole interesting idea unto itself. Bitcoin, the future of money, not our favorite coin, is headed for 60K. Now, the way we broke it down was simple. Bitcoin went from 10, to 40, took a break, and now it could make another 30,000K move or 30K move from 30 to 60. We've got some really nifty internal work showing that, 60K could be a huge inflection point. You may actually see material selling in Bitcoin at 60K. Now, what does that mean for the market? Truthfully, I don't know. Because again, there are all these players out there like Michael Saylor where, if he smells that there's liquidity, they may, a guy like him may jump in and take what the sellers are offering. But 60K is a very big level in Bitcoin, and our internal work shows that it's actually more important than 50. Now, total crypto market cap. I like this stuff as an analyst. I like these numbers. I've been using them. I thought it was interesting that, total crypto market cap hung around 1 trillion. And then I tried to chart it from there, and Mr. Market just doesn't care. Okay. It doesn't care. Right. It's just going and going and going. Total crypto market cap. The next level I can even chart is 1.8 trillion. Again, the explosion in the way this market is moving, it's almost like either it's a mania and people are just wildly FOMOing in, or the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem has been so mispriced, meaning its total value is just too low. We're watching the market revalue it where it's supposed to be. Now, which is it? Well, I don't know, but I can get you prepared for both. Now, let's talk altcoins. At Token Metrics, altcoins are what we do, right? We help you find the hidden gems, and we help you organize the bigger altcoins into portfolios. Now, right now, looking at altcoin market cap, we're seeing a threshold level of $700 billion. So just to put this in perspective, when the year started and we were optimistic on crypto, total altcoin market cap was about 200 billion. It's now close to 700. If it breaks 700, well, I just told you that they're waving their hands in the air like they just don't care. They could take the altcoin universe, that's everything below Bitcoin, to 1 trillion. Why not? Seems to be the way things work, right? It's like, okay, it should stop here. Okay, well, it didn't. Now what? So I just want you to be prepared for that. Now, how does total altcoin market cap get to 1 trillion? Well, it would be the trade that we like, which, was sort of left in the dust. ETH would actually pick up and people would go, you know what? This is the dominant network in crypto. I read a report by one of our analysts about an exchange that's coming out in like the layer 2 area of Ethereum. It's going to dramatically reduce gas fees. And I put that report down and I said, I can't believe people are chasing this other stuff and not buying Ethereum. Because if they read this report that we released and they understood what it meant for the future of Ethereum, the fact that everyone is out there chasing centralized solutions or solutions that are not online or have developers instead of Ethereum, I was like, oh my God. And this is classic in markets, right? Frequently, the thing that everyone's doing or that is making headlines is maybe not the right trade. So when I look at Ethereum, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really slow moving, but that fits with the history of ETH. ETH can bore you to tears. I think Ethereum can still go to 3,500, okay? Because when Ethereum goes, it's not only got to catch up to Bitcoin, but I think it's just got to make a statement that this is the dominant network for decentralized finance. Now, let's talk decentralized finance. DeFi Perp, it's a futures contract that helps you follow all the big DeFi coins that trade on Ethereum, okay? Right now, there's technical resistance at 12,000. And frankly, these coins really did not trade well this week because this was the Ethereum is dead week. Okay, great. Well, if DeFi ignites itself again and takes out 12K, then there can be another run. If not, then some of these DeFi, these Ethereum-based DeFi coins may have to continue to take a back seat to, Polkadot or Binance FOMO. Now, how to measure the market. In other words, if you just got here or you've been here, you're probably having the same feeling like, what do I do now? Right? Crypto was so unusual past 2 weeks that like new people and people who have been here are going, oh my God, this is hard. Like, I own it. Do I sell? And other people are like, well, I just got here. What do I buy? How do I figure it out? All right, let me help you. Galaxy Digital. What is it? It's a cryptocurrency hedge fund run by an ex-Goldman guy named Mike Novogratz. Really smart guy, one of the smartest, one of the best groups out there. In this stock, which trades in Canada, support is at $16. It's had a wild run up. We've been tracking this since it was at $2. And we want to see the 16 level in this stock hold. We think if it does, it's a great leading indicator that things like Bitcoin or Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash or DeFi can continue to go up. We do not want to see a world where wildly speculative cryptos go up and Galaxy goes down. Now, speaking of I'm new, what do? I just got here. This is our Coinbase annual portfolio, which our firm has part of its treasury invested in. And I just wanted to make a few notes for new people and for people who are experienced. In this portfolio, you're going to see, starting on the bottom, moving to the right, you're going to see Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Dash, all forms of money. When we start our Token Metrics live stream, Ian's got this really compelling part where he says, crypto is the future of money. Those coins from this annual portfolio are a part of that future of money, and they may have a lot of room to run. We also, in the top right, see coins like Synthetics. Synthetics, to be very simple, can help disrupt, Wall Street's hold on the world of exotic trading and derivatives. So not only is there a future of money, but there's a future of banking, lending, and Wall Street trading all happening inside the crypto universe. So if you don't know where to start, or if you've made a bunch of money and you want to move from that into something else, we think there's a lot of really underappreciated coins in here. And we think there's stuff like Synthetics and Ethereum that can actually like move. Like we had something in our newsletter about our upside target from Synthetics, and it's really a robust number on the upside. Now, let's take a turn for the serious. So earlier, I said the winners for this week were centralized entities. Let's discuss how well centralized entities did this week in the state of Texas. For those outside the U.S., Texas is a very unusual place. It is one of the only U.S. states where you will see the flag of Texas flying everywhere next to the American flag. Texans are generally very proud people, okay? They have an unusual way about them, all right, and a deep history. And even if you weren't born here, if you live here long enough, Texas does rub off on you. However, this week saw something that frankly was shocking, even for this world. Simply, a winter storm came, which we knew what was coming. We knew it was coming, but the following things happened. Our power grid was not equipped for winter storms because our power grid was centralized. There was no competition for electricity. So the centralized entities made a decision prior to winter as to how much electricity we would all need. One side note, I live in the state of Texas, in a southern part called San Antonio. In San Antonio, we froze because in order to preserve the entire power grid, they had to shut off power to half the state, leaving millions freezing, and the people who had power only had it for like 5 to 8 hours a day. Meanwhile, the roads closed and grocery stores were empty and water pipes burst. So in sum, there were people in the United States, in Texas, who did not have power, heat, food, or water for a week. Now, that, folks, is shocking. That, folks, is upsetting. And that, friends, is a colossal failure of a centralized entity. A colossal failure that's so big that I don't mind anymore if they moon Cardano and Polkadot, because it's a protest against a system, a financial system, a government that doesn't work for the people. And in the case of what happened in Texas, or these two people trying to find food in the dark, all right, there was a lot of pain involved in a very short period of time. Other parts of America have storms, but I'm telling you, this one was different because this one made the entire United States look bad. Now, why does that matter? Well, because the legacy press is talking about how interest rates on long-term U.S. bonds are rising, meaning the world may be going like this to U.S. government financial solvency or its reputation. Okay, no doubt this situation was worsened by what happened in Texas. You also have to consider the idea that too much money has been printed. Ian in his commercials talk about governments continuing to print money. These problems could be fueling what's going on in crypto, creating this wild party, well, not too wild, but this wild party in crypto, but in legacy, bond yields are rising. Bonds are falling apart. This is LQD, an ETF of corporate U.S. bonds, like good companies, their bonds. And interest rates are rising to the point where those bonds are starting to fall apart. All right. This is not good for the legacy system. And it's definitely not good for the stock market. Like all weekend, everyone's been like, oh my God, what is happening with interest rates? What is happening with the reputation of the United States? And will this affect a wildly overvalued stock market? Now, in the short term, it's helping a wildly undervalued crypto market. But you have to stay tuned and you have to pay attention to what's going on in QQQ, that's NASDAQ 100, and what's going on in the U.S. bond market. You can track LQD on your trading view. These things matter because one thing we know about this world for the last 12 months is that sudden surprises can create big changes in markets. If you got a lot of money on the table and a lot of profits in crypto, you want to keep one eye on this type of market. Now, a final note. Tesla, Elon Musk. First, he said things about Dogecoin. Then he said good things about Bitcoin. Then he bought some Bitcoin. Then he said bad things about Bitcoin. What's up with that? Well, here's what I think. Elon tried to get a bunch of attention by buying Bitcoin because he wanted Tesla to moon the way Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy, has mooned. Well, guess what? Tesla has already mooned, and when Elon bought Bitcoin, Tesla's stock slumped. So he didn't get what he wanted. Now, again, why is that important? Well, because for Elon, the crypto party ended. It kind of ended before it started. So I want you to make money. I want you to get involved, but I don't want you to get wrecked if things turn, because the things we saw this week, I couldn't have predicted. I knew the winter storm was coming and I knew Binance coin might go up, but not the way they did. So here's what I want to leave you with. In crypto, folks, party on. In crypto, decentralization has got to win. Okay? Remember what happened in Texas. All right? And if you're making money in crypto, you know what? Good for you. And if you're new to crypto, you haven't missed a thing. You're right on time. All right. And that's the market update for this week.
All right. Thank you very much, Bill. So if you enjoyed the market update, be sure to smash the like button and share this video with anybody in crypto and anybody who's curious about crypto. That helps us bring them onto Noah's Ark, because as we keep on saying all the time, not being in crypto at this point is a financial crime, right? So get your friends into crypto and have them go through that market update. And if you go through that and are not in crypto, we don't know what to say. All right, let's see what people have to say in the comments. People are saying Bill is a legend. Bill for president. Bill for president. Let's see what else we have here. Listen to Bill. Exactly. This was an exceptional event. Do we need a decentralized power grid? Says Crime Master. I mean, hey, it's definitely a possible opportunity. I know there's Power Ledger, right? Power Ledger was actually an ICO back from 2017. They were trying to do something kind of like that back in Australia and in Asia. I'm not sure how they're doing so far now. But all right. Okay, so now let's keep on going on with the show. So quick announcement. Token Metrics is hiring. We're growing fast. This year alone, we've been growing about 25% month over month. This month, we're about to grow probably more than 30% compared to last month. Obviously, we're in a bull run. It's crypto all season, and we're growing fast. So if you go to tokenmetrics.com/careers, if you have any interest in crypto and you're an all-star, we want to talk to you. So the different roles we're hiring for, general counsel, basically having an internal lawyer being in crypto is definitely something of value. We're adding more people onto the customer success team. We hired somebody last month who's actually a viewer, which is pretty cool. That's why we always want to kind of put the message out there through our platform. And we're also looking to hire engineers. If you're an ML engineer, if you know data science, machine learning, and you're a programming whiz, definitely go through and apply. We're also expanding our engineering team. So backend developers, front engineers, automation engineers, web designers, the whole gambit, HR admin, and actually 2 big announcements. As of next week, we'll have 2 new full-time employees joining our research team. One is a would say code reviewer and blockchain developer, amazing, has quite the stellar history. So expect for us to be able to put out more content for you when it comes to code reviews. This person was joining the team full time, and we're also hiring a senior investment research analyst. So somebody kind of bring both more fundamental analysis to the team and also more TA. So the next month is going to be huge because right now our customers, first of all, if you're a customer, thank you so much for being there for us to support us. And we're just trying to reinvest back into you to make sure we find you those hidden gems even a lot faster, right? So the newsletter right now, we're putting out 5 emails pretty much every single week, but adding these 2 people to the team is going to take us to the next level because now we want to be able to research these projects even early on and find you those hidden gems that could possibly 10x or 100x. And we're also adding more people on our marketing team. But anyway, go to tokenmetrics.com/careers and apply. Okay, all right, let's go into question of the day. We kind of talked about this last week, but after the week Binance has had, I mean, quite the week. Okay, can Binance Smart Chain catch up with Ethereum? Is this possible, or is this just a hype? Is this just a narrative of the day, of the month? But I think it's very, very interesting, right? Because Ethereum has now hit 2,000, right? So Ethereum is slowly moving, and most developers are actively building on Ethereum. And for me, I'm still bullish on Ethereum long term. However, I do see the need for why people, especially newbies or people who are not whales, are gravitating to Binance Smart Chain, even though it's centralized. And I don't think long term is ever gonna surpass Ethereum, because I think once Ethereum scales with ETH 2.0, with optimistic rollups, with optimism, or maybe even with a Polygon or Matic, I don't really think the scaling issue will be a challenge, because right now most developers are building on Ethereum. So I'm bullish on Ethereum long term. However, I think right now I can, if anything, which is kind of ironic, anybody who's not a whale and they want to get into DeFi, I tell them, you know what? Ethereum right now, gas fees are too high. Go test out Smart Chain. I would probably not hold any of the tokens on Binance Smart Chain because I don't think the fundamentals are quite there, like the projects on Ethereum. But just treat it as a trade. Go there. It's a trade. It's a narrative. Know that if the music stops, you don't want to be left holding a bag, right? So go in there. Don't fall in love with any of the assets. Just treat everything as a trade. When I say trade, I mean don't put more than 1% of your portfolio into any of these tokens, right? So, I mean, even my younger brother who's currently in college, I'm trying to get him into DeFi, and he has a couple of grand he wants to invest. But even with him, it's challenging with Ethereum, right? So next week I'll be teaching him Binance Smart Chain, right? So I think Binance has actually carved out a niche in the market for themselves, a niche right now that Ethereum cannot defend against until Ethereum eventually scales, which could be 1 or 2 years. That's something Binance could actually keep on mooning for the short term. Now, I'm very bullish on CZ, very bullish on Binance and BNB, the token, because, I mean, first of all, what a play. I mean, Binance is now basically a $1 billion company about to IPO eventually, right? They canceled the IPO some time back. And now they also have a token that's also worth billions of dollars. So essentially they're double dipping. I mean, so I think CZ might end up becoming the Elon Musk. Like if crypto really takes off, CZ could become the richest person in the world. Because I'm not sure how much he owns in BNB tokens, but I assume he still has BNB tokens. And he also has equity in Binance. So if crypto really takes off, I mean, because he's already technically a billionaire. So I'm not sure who's keeping track, but I mean, he might be on Elon Musk's level pretty soon, especially if BNB goes to 1,000. But anyway, Bill, what do you think? Do you think Binance Smart Chain can ever catch up with Ethereum?
Okay, well, nobody ever made any money betting against CZ, okay, as you noted, right? The guy's a competitor. Now, he can open up almost like a crypto fun park that gets a lot of people involved. So in that sense, it's great. And in that sense, yes, he can continue to get attention. You know, you can buy the dip in, you know, the Pancake token. And, you know, if Binance Chain wants to take off again, it can. It's got to get through 350. But, you know, at the end of the day, when institutions come in to buy crypto, I don't think they're going to be buying Binance coin. They're going to want Ethereum. Now, if DeFi on Ethereum is expensive, then maybe people are just getting a little bit too ahead of themselves. It's good that they can participate via Binance coin, but again, maybe the party's a little bit too hot on one hand. And again, if you've got to pay a lot to be on a network, it's like paying a lot for a nice hotel room. At the end of the day, I have a really hard time seeing how any of these players beat Ethereum. Because once the layer 2 scaling comes out and once 2.0 comes out, you've got the future of finance and the future of derivatives, the future of Wall Street. You know, no one's talking about this. Well, we are, but no one else is. So ETH isn't just kind of like an altcoin casino. I know that's the fun part, and we want you to have fun. So if you got to go to Pancake or Binance to have fun, please go. But when you're investing, which we encourage people to do, or when you're thinking, which we can encourage people to do, you know, Ethereum is going to be where crypto is 12 months from now.
All right. So thank you, Bill. Taking a few comments here from the audience. Duran says, Binance is the worst thing to happen to crypto with its extreme centralized shadiness and lack of transparency. Okay, quite the words. I mean, you know what? Yeah, so I think that's also kind of my issue with Binance. Not Binance, the exchange, but in terms of BNB, the token, or rather Binance Smart Chain. They're basically just creating their own blockchain, forking everything from Ethereum DeFi, and just trying to take off gas fees. I think that works for now, but it's not really innovating. So long term, I don't think it's the move. So I definitely do understand anybody who's new in crypto or DeFi, or who can't really invest or partake in yield farming on Ethereum because of gas fees. By all means, I think it does make sense to go and try to make your money on Binance Smart Chain. But I think the quality of the assets on Binance Smart Chain is nowhere near the quality of assets on Ethereum. But sometimes you have to kind of do what you have to do to make your money, right? Just make sure you understand it and you don't fall in love with the assets unless they have good fundamentals, right? That's why we have token metrics and our code reviews. Okay, let's take a few more comments here. Binance is an international conglomerate now, says Topher. Okay, all right. So looking here on my screen, producer, if you could pull that up. So I mean, first of all, Binance is now the third biggest project in all of crypto. Third in market cap. I mean, so this is because last week, Binance was 12th in market cap. It was between 10 and 15th. So it's made quite the move pretty fast. It basically went from 0 to 100 real quick. But I think this really brings up a bigger point in crypto. Crypto is always about narratives. And every bull market, there's basically a shiny new token, or sometimes a shiny object syndrome. So back last year, in August, the shiny crypto was Chainlink, right? Link pretty much mooned. Prior to that, I think in July, it was Ampleforth, right? And then I would say after that, we basically kind of had a phase. There was basically a short bear market where alts dumped in September. But then we basically had Polkadot. Polkadot projects, anything Polkadot would just pump. And that was the narrative. Polkadot interoperability, products like Polkastarter, all that. And now I think the narrative for this month has basically been anything Binance Smart Chain. But understand this, in crypto, the narratives always shift. They always change. So you have to be there and be ready to, one, pounce on them if you're trading, but understand that you're basically just riding the wave. And this wave can stop. So right now, if you're riding the wave for Binance Smart Chain, make your money, using proper risk management. So if you're trading it, it's basically don't put more than 1% of your portfolio into any of these assets. That way, if you get wrecked, you're still alive, right? But then know that the narrative for next month could be totally different. Now, who knows what the narrative could be? It could be DeFi on Solana or DeFi on some other chain, right? So just kind of understand that when you're going into it, and I think you'll be fine. Okay, so going to see what the community has voted. All right, so the community says no, Binance Smart Chain will not catch up with Ethereum. And I would say I have to agree as well. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Thought of the week: is Pancake Swap better than Uniswap? Go to menti.com, menti.com, use the code 2864025 and vote. That's 2864025. Okay, so is Pancake Swap better than Uniswap? My answer would say no. I mean, Uniswap just completely innovated, and for me this is basically their race to lose. Our engineers have done a code review on Uniswap, and I mean, it's the real deal. That's why when they did the airdrop, I said I'm not selling. If you've seen that Wall Street meme for Wolf of Wall Street, where basically Jordan Belfort or DiCaprio is saying, I'm not effing selling. I mean, that was basically me, because I feel like if you get good projects, solid projects, why would you sell? Because we're not here to make short-term money. We're here to make generational wealth, right? That's like getting airdrop Bitcoin back in 2013, 2012, or even earlier, and selling that, saying, you know what, I'm just trading this. Like when you know something is fundamentally sound, not just sound, but the best, why would you sell that? That means you're getting it early, very, very undervalued. That's why when I got 1inch Exchange, Uniswap, all these projects that our team has gone through, and we've shared our code reviews with the customers back last year. And we said, these are projects that if you're in DeFi, if you're in crypto, you should have these in your portfolio. Obviously not investment advice, but definitely worth having. So to me, and first of all, Pancake Swap, I believe, is just a fork of, is basically forking Uniswap onto Binance Smart Chain and just changing the fees. So I think that's not really innovating, because innovation can always, like, good engineers, good teams, they can always defend themselves long term on competition. So to me, I don't think Pancake Swap has really done anything better, right? Because eventually, with version 3 of Uniswap launching, Pancake Swap, is it really better? Right. So to me, long term, I'd have to go with no. Bill, what do you think?
Okay, so here's a question. When legacy investors go to get into DeFi, or legacy investors want to go what I would call beyond Coinbase, when people who are used to equities come in and you're going to tell them that they can trade on Uniswap, who invented this type of trading, whose overall value of Uniswap is probably too cheap if you look at where Coinbase is trading, and you show that to a legacy investor and say, or you can go over to Pancake Swap and you can have less fee, but less security and less quality. Where are people going to want to go? Right? Because the way crypto creates generational wealth isn't if, like you or your friend, use crypto as kind of like an inflation hedge or a way to have fun. Generational wealth comes when legacy investors pour into crypto. Uniswap or Pancake Swap? I think it's Uniswap.
All right. Well said, Bill. Now, to add on to that, so while I do like Uniswap, I mean, I'm team 1inch exchange. I mean, that is my platform, because why would you use Uniswap if 1inch exchange does the same thing, but lets you look at all the other dexes and finds the best fill for you? It has smart order routing. So to me, I only use Uniswap if I have to, and that's really just to add liquidity to their pools. But for now, I mean, 1inch exchange, that's my platform. So if anything, I'm bullish on that, because I think that is very, very undervalued. Because if we go to CoinGecko, Uni is now basically 12th in market cap, right? It's $8.4 billion. Uniswap is basically almost $30. And for anybody who got their airdrops, I mean, that's basically over 10 grand. That's almost 15 grand you got in less than 1 year if you just held, right? So the people who are trading that, I mean, that's, if you sold and never bought back in, that's basically not an L, because you still made money technically, but long term, that was not the move, in my opinion. But if we go to 1inch exchange, let me find this here. It's not pulling up. I'll just search for it. Yeah, because 1inch exchange, market cap wise, is ranked 111th. I mean, 111th. Market cap, $500 million. And to me, I think this is way, way undervalued. That's why I do have a position in this. Actually, more so than Uniswap. This is 5% of my portfolio. And I do most of my liquidity pools and yield farming through their dashboard. I'll cover this probably more towards the end of the show during the overtime session. But I mean, I'm bullish on this. I think this is way, way undervalued in my opinion. I think this should be top 20 market cap, maybe worst case top 30 or 40, right? So looking at that, I think this, because Uniswap is, we said 8 billion. I think this should be like 4 billion market cap, right? So we're looking at pretty much a 10x potential here. So I think this can go to 50, but that's something I can kind of cover more towards the end of the show. But going back to the thought of the week. So the audience is pretty much on the same page with us. Pancake Swap is not better than Uniswap. But tell us what you think down below. Okay, let us now go to Crypto Showdown. Okay, we're kind of, as you guys can see, this is pretty much DEX week. Okay, so let us know. Go to Minty.com, code 2864025. What is your favorite DEX coin right now? Right, we're giving you 4 options: Pancake Swap, Uniswap, Sushi Swap, and 1inch exchange. Right, so if you had to pick a DEX coin to invest in currently, let's make this long term. which one would you invest in? Obviously not investment advice, but let us know. Also post your comments down below. As I've mentioned before, for me, if I had to pick just one inch exchange, I think that is way, way undervalued in terms of the value it's doing. Because 1 inch, basically as Uniswap grows, so will 1 inch. Because 1 inch, you're basically capturing that value of Uniswap and SushiSwap, right? So this is kind of like a next level trade, kind of like a meta trade or investment. Because if both of these do well, 1 inch exchange will also do well, right? So while all these are good projects, I do use all of them, right? I use Uniswap as an LP. Same thing with SushiSwap. So I'll just kind of do a brief overview on both, right? In terms of how I personally use these platforms, right? So if you go to 1 inch exchange, DAO, and farming, actually to pools, right? Typically you go through. So I go through my portfolio, and any token I have, I try to see if there's a pool available, right? So there's Benchmark, there's Torn, right? So let's do Torn, right? So right now, APY on this is 131% APY, right? So basically, just for this liquidity pool, you're getting 70% 1 inch, and is that right? Okay, sorry, 61% APY and 70% 1 inch. So basically, you go through here, you add liquidity, then you go to farming, and this is why I love 1 inch, right? The best pool for me right now has been Opium. Opium has not done too well as an investment, but that's fine. That's kind of a long term. I think that has potential long term based on our team's code review. But pretty much end of January, I put in about 80 grand, and I made simply. And this 7 grand is being paid in 1 inch tokens. And I mentioned 1 inch is undervalued, right? So this 7 grand, if I believe 1 inch can go to $50, as I mentioned here, right? Right now it's $5. Let's say it goes to $5 billion market cap, and I don't know, 6 months, 12 months, hopefully sooner. But let's say we're that patient, right? If that goes to $50, that is a hell of a trade, in my opinion, or investment. Let me go back. Right. So imagine if this does a 10x, right? So to me, because once you find a project that's fundamentally sound, that has good tech, good code, you want to earn more of that. So in this case, I'm basically taking money that was just sitting there in my wallet, basically Opium tokens and ETH, because I already have ETH, as you guys know, I'm my ETH moon boy, and basically just added liquidity, right? And being paid back in 1 inch, a project that could then even grow, which is very undervalued. That's basically double dipping, right? So, and why I like 1 inch, the quality of projects, if you notice here, is very, very good. Like just even getting added here onto their farms, they have a very thorough vetting process. And ironically, they kind of think like our team, right? Because if you notice, most of the code reviews we've done have actually ended up being listed here, right? So like Opium, LDO, Tornado Cash, right? So it seems like they have their own research team that's pretty good to a point where they have a good screening process. Obviously, not everything they list will be like something we can endorse per se, but compared to the other platforms, the quality of projects they're adding, I have been very, very impressed with, right? So I like to use this here. Then if we go to SushiSwap, I do like to use their, if I go to portfolio, where it's just, sorry. If you go to farm on Sushi, this is what I like about Sushi over Uniswap. Sushi is also a project I think has really carved out a niche for themselves, right? Basically, they forked Uni, but it's more owned by the community. And if we go to, let me put in Sushi. Sushi's market cap is 44th, right? So it's actually much more than 1 inch exchange, right? $2 billion market cap. So I definitely think 1 inch exchange can come to the same level, right? That would basically be about a 5x or so for 1 inch exchange, basically going from $5 to $25. But looking at this, I think all these do have a niche in the industry in terms of all the pools here, right? Like some of the pools available like the ones I'm in. How do I sort this? Yeah, so right now I'm actually doing both pools on SushiSwap and also on 1inch exchange for Torn, right? Because I'm very bullish on Tornado Cash, and I'm basically I just did it. I began this recently. I added liquidity here, and I'm basically getting tokens for Sushi, right? But the quality of projects they have here, I don't think is on the same level as 1inch exchange, but they do have a lot more. And if you have any of these coins in your portfolio, I think it does make sense, right? But one thing to note here, actually, recently, the ROI for farming Torn here is 109% versus here 70%, right? So I may eventually switch if that keeps on happening. But the downside is with Ethereum, you're basically paying gas fees, right? But going back to Crypto Showdown, I think for me, obviously, 1inch exchange, but I do understand people who do like SushiSwap and Uniswap. But I think if I had to pick one DEX coin to invest in, I would pick that. Bill, any comments on this?
Well, I like the 1inch chart, and 1inch is backed by Novogratz. So frequently, like if you think about the history of internet browsers, right? I think 1inch could be like the Google Chrome of crypto exchanges, where it's like the second or third one that comes along, but it winds up the king, right? And as you said, I'll spare you the chart work. If the sellers have been there at 5 or 6 in 1inch, and if the bulls take them out, 1inch can go to 15 easily, right? Especially when you consider what the Coinbase IPO means for the value of exchanges. So if it's undervalued to begin with, and the Coinbase IPO could go from, it went from 70 billion to 100 billion, and don't be shocked if it comes out at 200 billion. Don't be. This has profound implications for small players like 1inch.
Okay, so actually, very good question here from, or comment from Soy Frey or somebody saying, yeah, impermanent loss is a killer. Honestly, I think that's overblown. I mean, it's a killer if you're investing in bad projects, right? But so for example, right, I've pulled up this chart. If you just go on Google, put in impermanent loss graph, this will show you what is needed to kind of be able to manage losing money on impermanent loss, right? So this graph basically says losses to liquidity providers due to price variations, right? So basically, let's say, when you're adding liquidity to a liquidity pool, typically you have to add 50-50. So for example, producer, if you could pull up my screen here. So if we go back to, for example, right, let's go to pools, right? So for Tornado, you're basically adding liquidity, 50% Torn, 50% ETH, right? As you see here, and for example, I've put, I think 29 grand of each into this pool. But basically, because the way the automated market maker algorithm works, it basically takes those pairs of each and it automatically buys and sells. Right? So when you add liquidity, the issue with impermanent loss is as one of the token price basically pumps and moons, you basically end up losing money to a point where you're better off actually just holding the asset because the market maker is basically selling as it's going up and vice versa, right? So this graph here basically says that, let's say one of the assets, let's say Tornado Cash versus Ethereum goes up 500%. You would basically lose 25% on this. So it's not like you're losing everything, right? But what you have to factor in is you're being rewarded for the risk you're taking as an LP, as a liquidity provider. This is why the yields have to be high to justify the risk you're taking, right? Because if one pair, or if one of the tokens in the pair does a 5x, you lose a quarter of value. That's why the yields have to be high. Because for example, like if we go here to, like here I'm an LP for Benchmark Protocol, and the APY here is 120%, right? So if you're getting this APY, or if we go back here to 1inch exchange, this is why the APY is very high, right? Like this is like here, right? Opium, 184%. So you're being compensated for the risk you're taking. Plus, if the token you're earning is, for example, 1inch exchange or SushiSwap, if it's a project you think will appreciate in value long term, then I think that's definitely worth the risk, in my opinion. Obviously not financial advice, but I think it's worth the risk. The only time where it's not worth the risk is if you're a degen. If you're basically farming shitcoins, projects that have no long-term value, right? That's why I think as an investor, you have to really make sure the projects you're in are projects that will be around after this bull run is over and we have a bear market. Because if you go back to 2017, how many projects that did well in 2017 are still around and have passed their all-time high? So, because some projects, like for example, Icon, did 100x. I mean, hey, we made a lot of money on Icon, but Icon has not gone back to its all-time high yet. So to me, but if you go to other projects like Chainlink, like Aave, like Synthetics, those are the projects that survived that bear market. So you want projects like that. So you want something that's basically nice and steady, something that will bounce back and go past its all-time high after the next bear market. And I think when you do that, I don't think you're basically taking risk, right? Because if you tell me, Ian, are you willing to lose 25% as an LP, providing liquidity for the 1inch exchange Tornado pool, or even I'm doing both here on SushiSwap, right? I'm doing this for Tornado on SushiSwap as well, right? To earn 109% APY in Sushi, I would say, yeah, I'll take it, right? Because I think SushiSwap has a place in this market long term. I think Tornado also has a place in this market long term. So like these are not shitcoins to me, right? So for me, I'm willing to take that risk, right? But let me know what you guys think down below. Are you guys on the same page? Do you guys and girls disagree? But okay, going back to the question, let's see what the audience has to say. Okay, 1inch exchange. Looks like we have people on the same page here. So if you're enjoying this, be sure to smash the like button, share this video with your friends, with your family. Now let's go on to the next segment. Okay, so we also have a new sponsor for Crypto Therapy. Shout out to Ifani. I'm actually a customer of this. I've been a customer for Ifani for over 1 year. Use this to secure your crypto and your phone. Go to tokenmetrics.com/Ifani. I want to just kind of go through a quick overview on what they do. We actually had an interview with the CEO on our channel for the 100X show last year. But for those who've been in crypto, who followed me since 2017, you know I was hacked in 2018. I lost basically almost $2.5 million in crypto. Definitely not a good place to be in. But owning crypto makes you a target. But one of the biggest risks of being in crypto are basically swap hacks. Basically, when a hacker calls up your telecom company, whether especially AT&T has had issues with that. Michael Turpin, who's also been on the 100X show a while back, he was hacked through a SIM swap hack and lost almost $26 million, I believe. Right. So basically, they call up the phone company, posing as you, and they basically have them port their phone number to their own phone, and then they use that to go into your crypto exchanges for 2FA and steal your crypto. So Ifani is basically a cell phone carrier designed to have basically military grade security. They have, I believe, 11 layers of security, meaning that nobody can just call them up and just port your phone number, right? Pretending to be you, right? Because they have so many different layers of security. I've been a happy customer for over 1 year. That's why we're very glad to have them be the sponsor for Crypto Therapy. They've been featured in Wall Street Journal, CoinDesk, New York Times. Definitely recommend going through here and just reading this. And if you're in crypto and you're trying to build wealth, and especially if you're using crypto exchanges, I definitely think this is something worth looking into, right? It basically costs about $100 a month. Military grade security, encryption. They have an insurance coverage as well, up to $5 million, and they have great support. So definitely recommend this. Support them. Charlie Shrem is a customer. So is, I think, Scott Melker, some NBA players. I would say if you have a nice portfolio that's growing and you want to protect it, definitely worth looking into Ifani. So go to tokenmetrics.com/Ifani and tell them we sent you. Okay, so with that being said, let's go to crypto therapy. So if you have any crypto questions, this is something we're kind of experimenting with, so bear with us. It's basically a live call-in show. Call 1-888-90-TOKEN. That's 1-888-908-6536. And we'll take calls live on the air right now. So we want to kind of make this interactive, but let's limit this to basically 3 questions. So we'll only take 3 calls, and each question you ask has to be, you basically have 30 seconds to talk, right? So let me just bring this up here. So if you have any question you want to ask me or Bill, call this number and we'll take it live on the air. You have 30 seconds to get your question out. Okay, let me just make sure this is working. Okay, so go ahead and call. As we're doing that, let's just kind of check in with the comments here with the audience and see how we're doing. Okay, that was fast. Okay, let's just bring in the caller here.
To send a voicemail, press Grasshopper. Call for extension 1. To accept, press 1. To send the voice.
Okay. Hello.
Okay, that was fast.
Hey, how are you? This is Ian. You're live on the air. Crypto therapy.
Hey, what's up, Ian? This is Rob. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Loving your show, by the way. You guys are doing a great job like you typically do. So love your show.
Thank you. Thank you. What's your question?
Got 2 questions. Number 1, what are your thoughts on Voyager? Voyager, it's been around a while. They've made a pretty strong move the last month and a half. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts regarding them over the next 6 to 9 months. And then the second question is, do you have a video out there, Ian, relative to liquidity mining that you can point your followers to?
Okay. I think I covered liquidity mining towards the end of the last live stream, but we can also cover that probably towards the end of this as well. But yeah, I think liquidity mining is definitely something anybody should be doing in their portfolio, especially if you have coins that are good long term. Then going back to Voyager, maybe Bill, if you could pull up TA for that as well for long term. I think Voyager, we've not really done like an in-depth analysis on it, but the fact that they're publicly traded in Canada does make them legit, more legit than almost any other cryptocurrency out there, right? So I had a chance to meet the team back in Vegas about a year and a half ago, and I knew they were legit when they said they had a ticker symbol right on the stock exchange. Now that's not a pass to just FOMO into it, but I think they do have. I mean, I don't think they're going to rug pull or do an exit scam, anything like that. So I think they have long-term staying power. Now, whether or not they become the next Coinbase or the next Binance, that remains to be seen. I've not used their exchange myself personally, but I think they have the bankroll to stick around and last. So I mean, and this has been a good performing coin in our indices here. I think one of them had them. I think the quarterly and monthly did have VGX, which has been quite on the tear. So I don't think it's a bad exchange. Bill, any comments to add to that?
All right, so if I got the right symbol up here.
Thing, relative to the Coinbase, go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, so bringing it back up here. If I've got the right symbol for Voyager, okay, I'm noticing it's making kind of a base right on $6.50. Okay, the way I like to think of it is it's kind of like a bird on a wire getting ready to fly. Now, what I've seen is if it can take off, it would go to something like 10. And if there's a big move, which we have seen in a lot of these altcoins, then you could probably see it long-term up here at 22. Okay. So once these coins take off, particularly this initial run, you know, you're either looking at 10 or 22 for Voyager.
All right. Thank you.
Whoa, love it.
Okay. All right. Well,
Hey, thank you, and I appreciate the time. You guys, good evening.
all right. Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Okay. All right. So yeah, apologies. We're getting so many calls. So we won't be able to take all the calls here. But maybe if you leave some voicemails, we can take those calls as well. Let me see what else we have here. Okay. So we'll take 2 more calls here. What platform is 1H tradable on? The token is available pretty much anywhere you can get Ethereum. I would say 1H Exchange, Uniswap, SushiSwap. Actually, it should be. Okay, next call here. Cryptotherapy. Bear with me.
Press 1 to send a voicemail. Press.
Hi, this is Ian. You're calling in Cryptotherapy. How are you?
Hi, Ian. How's it going?
Good, good. Thank you for calling in. What's your question and what's your name?
My name is Niall. I'm ringing from Dublin, Ireland, and I wanted some advice on strategies for taking profits. I got stuff. I bought ADA in 2017 at around the 50 mark, and I've Ethereum. I have Icon as well, which you mentioned previously, and my portfolio is good over the last 2 months. It's just come good over the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
But my basic query is, for the proper 6-9 months.
Okay, basically taking profits. Great question. Great question. Bill, maybe you want to tackle that first?
Okay. First step is try to pull out your initial investment. You've got something that's done like a 1x or a 2x. Take that money that you originally pull in and take it back out. That way, if something bad happens the next day, you haven't lost any money. The other idea is to use something called a trailing stop. Okay. Or this idea that you have price targets along the way. So the way we project here, something going higher, you can have your own projections. And you can say, all right, well, when it gets to this target, I'm going to take 25% of my money off the table. Or if it goes down 10%, I'm going to take a certain amount of money off the table. So profit-taking strategies require some imagination, some analysis, right? And it's about your risk tolerance. One thing I do tell people, if you look at your portfolio and you're absolutely amazed at the amount of money and you feel like opening a bottle of champagne, sell, right? That's your intuition telling you that you and the market have become emotional, and that's usually a good time to take profits. The real answer is take profits a little bit at a time. All right. But definitely get that initial investment out if you can.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So let me also add to that. So in general, in terms of taking profits, a strategy I like, as Bill mentioned, you want to take out your initial investment. Now, that will depend on when you want to take the money out. But I think a good point is probably after a 3x return, you take out your initial investment, and now you're basically playing with house money. And then after that, I think taking profits, maybe selling 10 or 20% after every 3 or 5x, I think that also is a viable strategy after you take out your initial investment. So for example, let's say you invest into a project that does a 3x, right? Let's say you put in 10 grand, goes to 30 grand. You basically take out 10 grand. Now you sell that to ETH or Bitcoin or stablecoin, whatever. That's basically now on the side in your portfolio, and you can use that to reinvest into other projects. And now you have 20 grand still in the project. And let's say that does a 3x, right? 20 grand turns to 60 grand. I'll probably sell 10 or 20% of that. And then as it keeps on going, keep but you never want to sell everything, right? That's why I think selling 10 or 20% with every 5 or 10x, I would say with every 5x is probably the range I would do. But honestly, that's only if you need the money. Because sometimes, like for me right now, I don't really need the money. So I'm willing to actually be patient on some projects and not sell, which might seem kind of like hearsay. But I think, like for example, let's say you bought Chainlink, right? I guess Chainlink is where I learned my story. Obviously, I did a 5x or so on Chainlink and sold right before we're entering the bear market, right? Because I was like, we're entering a bear market, zero market. And that's the investment I will live to regret. Because as we know now, Chainlink is now top 10 market cap project. So imagine if I never sold, or if I just sold 10 or 20%, but still kept on having that in my portfolio. Basically, you want to ride your winners. Projects that are winning, I would just completely get out unless something has fundamentally changed. But what I've learned is sometimes you could be wrong. And when you're wrong on something that big, because the only thing worse than losing money is being right and selling too soon. Obviously, that's a nice problem to have. But I mean, we were in the private sale of Chainlink, not ICO private sale, like getting in at the best price. So if I still had that now with Chainlink being a top 10 market cap project, same thing with Synthetics, right? Back then when they had the ICO as Haven, we're in the private sale, right? So being able to find these good projects early is half the problem. Then once you find them, you have to be able to weather the storm. Because I mean, imagine getting in early in these projects, kind of like now with these IDOs or private sales, but not being able to weather the storm to see them fully mature and grow up and become these large projects now, right? So SNX is top 20 market cap, Chainlink is top 10 market cap, but the gap in between their initial token launch and where they are now, I mean, that was quite the roller coaster ride, right? But being able to weather the storm while taking profits, while staying in is, I mean, that's the $1 million problem right there. But I think it's something I'm trying to do a lot more of, giving projects more room to grow. But I think you can do that if you've done the deep research on them through our platform, through the code reviews. Like, for example, all the projects now I'm in, I believe in them long term, right? So I'm willing to just say, you know what, I'm not selling. Right? Like kind of like with Uniswap, I know that's a good project, so I'm comfortable really holding that and not even selling for a couple of years. But if you're holding a bad project that you haven't done any research on, or it's kind of sketch, you won't really do that, right? So you won't really get those large wins, those home runs, because I think that's how you get the 1,000x returns, not 10x, not 100x, but 1,000x returns. It's not just a rocket ship straight up to 1,000x. It's basically a choppy chart that basically where the project dies like 10 times on the way to 1,000x. Okay, and you have to be able to weather the storm before it goes to 1,000x, and I think that's the challenge. But anyway, thank you for calling. We appreciate the call. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Last question or last caller. Hi, this is Ian. You're live on Cryptotherapy. What's your name and what's your question?
Oh, hey, my name's Steve. I'm from Washington. And I was just wondering if you could do a TA on Matic Polygon. Seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Well, and
well, thank you for that
what
question.
You thought about it.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, I mean, I love Matic. I love Polygon. I loved them before, but after they made the change to Polygon and going after a much bigger idea, I basically bought more Matic. So Matic before was 1% or less of my portfolio. I basically had a small stash I was taking, but it wasn't anything to look at. But once they announced the news, I went and bought a lot more. Matic now makes up about 5% of my portfolio. I basically doubled down on that bet because I think Polygon now is very, very undervalued from a long-term perspective, right? Because they have great technology, they have great code, but the problem they're trying to solve is huge They want to bring interoperability to Ethereum. So now they're basically competing against Polkadot, against Avalanche, against Cosmos. All these are projects that have huge market caps. Because if we go to where's Polkadot at? Polkadot has market cap of $38 billion. Right? $38 billion. Right? Just think about that. Right? $38 billion market cap. And if we compare that to Polygon, right? $800 million market cap. So, I mean, is Polkadot that better than Matic? Right? Because that's basically more than 40 times. Is Polkadot 40 times better than Matic? I don't think so. Right? And Matic is a great project, legit project. They had their Binance IEO a while back. Coinbase is an investor. They're working towards becoming the centralized. I've met so many developers who built on Matic. Like we have 2 engineers on our own team who have built dApps on Matic. So there's so many developers, Ethereum blockchain developers, who love Matic or Polygon now. And to me, I just think it's very, very undervalued, because if we compare this to projects like Avalanche, right? AVAX just launched, and their market cap is the 35th in market cap. I mean, is AVAX that nice compared to Polygon? I don't think so. I mean, I did read the white paper and it was pretty good, but they're at 2.7 billion. So that's why I think, to me, this is honestly, nothing is easy or in crypto, but I think Polygon can do a 5x when I got in, which was market cap was about $500 million. It was like 400 something billion, right? So sorry, about $500 billion. So looking at this, I think Matic or Polygon can catch up to AVAX. So I think we're looking at a 5x. But anyway, let's have Bill do the TA. Bill?
Okay, so on that note, Polygon has got resistance around 20 cents. And all these altcoins, they have a very similar pattern that when they take out this sort of first line of resistance that I draw using Fibonacci math. So like if Matic takes out 20 cents, the minimum move is to say 40 cents and possibly to 60. So once these coins get going, they can 2 and 3x. And as Ian has pointed out, one of the reasons why, say AVAX mooned the way it did was I believe it was available on Kraken when that whole Robinhood rush was coming in to both Coinbase and Kraken at the same time. Now, nothing against that project. I actually picked it on a TV show and I'm super happy with it. When you look at this is like a sleeper. And ironically, this was the one hot altcoin of 2019. And you can't even see the price action from 2019 the way I drew this chart. So the upside potential here is substantial.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay. Once again, that concludes Crypto Therapy, brought to you by Ifani. Go to tokenmetrics.com/Ifani to use their service. I told you I'm a customer. I have nothing but good words to say about it, especially if you're in crypto and you're trying to protect yourself against SwimSwap attacks. Definitely worth looking into them, and tell them we sent you. Okay, all right. Now back to the show. Here's a question from the forum. This is forum.tokenmetrics.com. Trade when bullish and invest for bear. You'll have to excuse my ignorance. I've been able to build one decent portfolio from 5 to 13K in the past 2 weeks. Congratulations, that's good. I was considering weekly trading based on the Token Metrics indices until I start seeing negative ROI for the week, and then switch to quarterly investing indices. Does this seem like a good idea? Any other suggestions? I'm using Coinbase, FYI. Good question. So in general, we've seen that in a bear market, the shorter time frame indices do a lot better because they're not holding any asset for too long. So meaning that daily and weekly work best during a market correction or crash. So for example, back in September when alts tanked 30-40% that month, or maybe during the pandemic back in March last year. So when the market is crashing, daily and weekly indices are the best to be in, kind of based on the history of our analysis. But during a bull run, like alt season, like now, the long-term indices are a lot better, meaning the quarterly and the yearly. So for example, you said you're in the Coinbase index, right? So if we go to our platform here, right? So investor yearly Coinbase, right? This one is up 31% since we made the update this month, and this one has been doing pretty well versus Bitcoin. If we go here, the top movers have been Dash. Dash is up over 100%. These are basically Coinbase large cap coins. So if you compare this, and if we go to the daily, right? Daily Coinbase, same one, right? You notice that daily is not doing so well right now because, as mentioned, during a bull run, as we're in now, it's not really good to be trading too much, over trading. As you see here, the ROI is not really there because it's not really letting the winners ride, right? You want to let the winners ride when the market is going up, right? That's how you capture those large run-ups, those rallies. And the long-term indices do that a lot better. So if you want something, so going back to your question here, let me just make sure I'm answering the question. So you're thinking of doing the weekly indices until it turns negative and then switching to quarterly? I see in this market now, I would probably do quarterly or yearly. But if you're looking to trade, then that's kind of different. Let's check monthly Coinbase index. I mean, because right now you want to make sure you're capturing. Okay, so monthly is actually doing a lot better. Coinbase 50%. It's basically in the graph. Bitcoin, ETH, and USD coin. If we go to the weekly Coinbase index, yeah. So I mean, I think, yeah. So weekly is not doing too well. So I think probably the monthly is probably your best option in my opinion if you want to trade but still capture those rallies.
Okay, when it comes to Coinbase is a place where you're going to go and, if you hit the jackpot, you'll get a 3x. But most of the time on Coinbase, you're trying to get a 40% return or a 1x. So I find that using monthly, quarterly, or even yearly indices to try to pick coins to hold, even if you don't hold them for a year, I think on Coinbase in particular, our analytics that are longer term can be useful for both longer term investing and saying, okay, this is what I think might get hot over the next month. Because again, Coinbase is not the 1000x zone or the 100x zone where you're looking at really small projects. So monthly, quarterly, better idea for Coinbase.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So if you're enjoying the show, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with your friends in crypto and your friends who are curious about crypto, because we're all going to the moon together and want to make sure that they join this rocket ship. Okay, now time to go to the AMA. So ask Token Metrics anything. So let's get this started here. Okay, so first question. What is the optimal token allocation and distribution in the project? Can you give me an example or a real example? Okay, so optimal token allocation. Well, in general, so he's basically saying the token supply for a project. In general, the general rule is you want the project to give more than 50% of the tokens to the community, meaning that it's a project that's governed by the community. So think of this as kind of like shares, even though tokens don't really equate to equity or shares. I think it's the best example to kind of picture this. Imagine a company, a stock company with a ticker on the stock exchange. Let's call it let's say Coinbase IPO, right? Let's say Coinbase has an IPO. The ticker symbol is called coin, COIN. But to be able to buy a company, you have to be a majority shareholder, meaning that you have to have the most shares And when you vote, let's say typically you have to have 51% or more votes to make anything happen. So let's say you want to buy a company. That's why most companies typically have to buy more than half of the company of shares. So let's say somebody wanted to buy Coinbase, that once it's trading on the exchange, and own the company and change their CEO or make all kinds of changes to their plans long term. To do that, you have to buy all the shares, not all the shares. Sorry, you have to buy more than 51% of the shares. So same thing in crypto. So to be able to have or do a 51% attack on a network, you have to, especially a proof of stake network, you have to have 51% of the tokens. So the way communities protect against that is making sure that the community as a whole, not the company, owns those tokens. This is why XRP, which is owned by Ripple, gets such a huge backlash, because the company and the team own more than half of the supply. I think when they launched, the team had like 65%, almost 70% of the tokens or supply for XRP, meaning that the community can't really govern the project. So it's not really decentralized. It's a centralized project. So when you're investing in these cryptocurrencies, you want to make sure that they're decentralized, meaning that more than half of the supply is owned by the community. And that's why DeFi has been doing very, very well, because this framework for launching a token, whether through a fair launch, but basically a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organizations, control the token, right? They control the governance of the token through a governance vote, meaning that the community is really steering the ship. They're controlling where the project is going. So it's really a community-driven project. So what we look for when investing is more than 50% of the tokens have to be to the community. Now, when you break that down, that typically goes into different buckets, such as airdrops, community, even investors. So let's say there's an ICO. Let me see if I can find an example here for you. What's a recent project? So Dodo token supply, maybe, because they just launched recently. We did share this with the customers on the last newsletter, and Dodo's actually done very, very well. Right, token supply into Google, and I'll go through a real life example. So let's see here. This is according to Binance research. Where's their supply chart? Okay, so here we go, right? So looking at this here, 60% of the tokens are going to the community, right? Community incentives. Then we have 6% to seed sale investors, 10% to private sale, 15% to team and advisors, 8% to operations and marketing, and 1% for IDO liquidity. Right. So this, I mean, at this point in time, if you're a project launching and most of the tokens are owned by the team, it's actually here's a better example. Let's do Ampleforth. There are so many Ampleforth clones. Ampleforth token supply, because a large portion of the tokens for Ampleforth were owned by the community, which is why there are so many forks, because they didn't believe there were. Maybe Masari will have this, right? There were so many forks because people hated the token economics and wanted to make something that was more fair, right? More owned by the community. Okay, let me see if I can find this here. Doing this live on the air. Okay, yeah, so looking at this, right, supply curve for Ampleforth, according to Masari. So 23% went to the ecosystem, 18% to seed investors, 3% to Series A investors, 10% to initial exchange offering, 25% to team and advisors, 20% to treasury. Yeah, so I mean, so the community here would basically be the ecosystem, maybe, right? And seed investors. So we have what? About 40%, maybe 43%. So what people didn't like about this is the team has 25%. Then they have a company treasury, that's 45%. So then you had forks like all those food forks that would just take the same project, open source it, right? Take their code, fork it, and changed the tokenomics to where the community owned everything. Everything was given to the community. It was basically called a fair launch. So going back to your question, what is the optimal? Right now, the optimal, there isn't really an optimal amount, but I would say definitely having more than half of the supply being given to the community. That would include ecosystem through airdrops, through different programs, through token sales, but basically having the community control everything and then having it be governed by a DAO. Bill, do you have any comments on that?
Only one. A decentralized network where it's owned by the community keeps you clean from a regulatory point of view. So I want to invest in a clean market. I want the projects that are good to stay good and not have regulators coming in and disrupting them. XRP being a regrettable example. So as long as they get the tokens in the hands of the community and the team acts with integrity, those are the type of projects you want to invest in.
All right. That's great. Okay, going on to the next. Well, the last bear market lasted about 2 years. Do you think this? Very good question. What do you think?
Okay, so this is the perennial question. Where and when is the top? All right, so I'm going to go back to something my dad taught me. When people say, when should I sell? Buy. So if everyone's talking about when is the next bear market going to happen, the market can probably still continue to go higher. I think at this point, it would take a sort of outlier or black swan event to stop crypto, like fraud or some sort of bizarre geopolitical event. So a lot of people are worried that there's too much FOMO. There is too much FOMO, but that can go on longer than you think. So I'm sticking with what I was saying back in December, that this bull market would be something like the way you would manage a bull market in stocks, where you would sell in May and go away, right? Meaning the bull market, if it survives early March, can continue into May. You take your money and you take a nice trip, because that's when unexpected corrections occur in equities. And I think the equity seasonality applies to crypto because institutions are now involved in crypto, right? And the institutions who hold equities are now piling into crypto at a rapid pace. So I'm sticking with sell in May and go away.
I like that. May go away. So I'm pulling up here a Bitcoin halving chart. And I think, obviously, this is not, I would say, the largest sample size. But looking at every Bitcoin halving, right, we've had basically three. We had one in 2013, 2019, and then but basically every bull market after every Bitcoin halving has lasted longer, right? So going back to 2011, bull market was basically 243 days. Then we had next one after that halving, 368 days. Then next one, 525 days. So technically, after every halving, each bull market should be longer, but the returns for Bitcoin should be lower. But then again, I mean, if Bitcoin really goes mainstream, that could all go out the window, right? Like if Bitcoin really goes parabolic, all of this is pretty much a moot point. But if you also notice here, right, the bear market also lasts. So the first time here, bear market 163 days. Next time 408 days. Then here 365. So there isn't really a pattern per se in the bear market, but the bull market usually does last longer. So looking at this, I mean, I think if we factor in when I would say probably post-pandemic, well, actually, I'm sorry, not post-pandemic, but after March of last year, when Bitcoin basically dropped below 4K, then basically just took off. Took a while to kind of get started, but just took off. And now we're at 57 or so. So I think bull run, in my opinion, began last year, and I think going all in, basically all into this year, I think my outlook is this entire year is basically a bull run. I think right now is the time to be in crypto, the time to make money, the time to build generational wealth. But then after the end of the year, I think be ready for a huge correction. That's not based on any TA per se, just kind of based on, and that's looking at where we are in the cycle of adoption for Bitcoin and also for Ethereum. But then again, I mean, I think the landscape has changed. I don't think we can really apply too much of this to everything we're doing, because Bitcoin ecosystem and infrastructure has totally changed. Now, if institutions are getting into Bitcoin, if Tesla and other companies, like if Apple gets into Bitcoin, if Amazon gets into Bitcoin, I mean, this completely changes everything, right? So that's why this is a nice guide, but I don't think it's like a law per se. So just kind of keep this in mind, right? Basically, we're very optimistic and bullish for the entirety of this year, but know that, hey, be cautious, right? Take profits or have good risk management. Anything can happen. But my outlook is this year is a crypto party. Next year, things probably will correct, but be ready for both. Let's see what people have to say down here in the comments. People talking about airdrops and Sushi Swap. Yes, yeah, RA Daniel, yes, hit the thumbs up button if you like this show and the stream. That helps us with everything. And basically be sure to subscribe and turn on alerts. Okay, going on to the next question. Okay, Ian, can you break down the liquidity trading volume formula? Good question. So I have covered this before, but basically nowadays, if you go to most dexes, like 1inch Exchange, if we go to the exchange tab, even same thing with Sushi and Uniswap, they'll tell you the slippage. So, like for example, let's say I want to sell 15 Ethereum and buy idle, right? The slippage on this is 0.26%. I'm sorry, 2.63%. Basically, I would lose this much on the trade. But this is good to know, because as you put in larger orders, right? If you're trying to sell 150 Ether to buy idle, you'd lose 21% just on this trade, just by buying, because of the slippage, because there's no liquidity here. The same thing if we go to Sushi. I haven't really used Sushi in a while. Let's see here. Swap, right? If we go to swap here, anyway, that's taking a while to load. Okay, yeah. So let's say we want to swap, same thing, right? Initially 15 ETH, and the token wanted to swap. Okay, why is it telling me to? Okay, so let's say we wanted to swap idle. There's an idle popping up. Okay, anyway, it looks like I have to, let's just use Torn, right? Same thing, price impact is what they use here. On 1inch, they use slippage, but it's basically the same thing. Just by making this trade, you would lose 2.8%. If we change this to 150 ETH, right? They don't even let you make this trade on the Sushi Swap, right? Because you lose 22%. Actually, what's the max they would let you do? Yeah, so they warn you, right? But the calculation I like to use is for liquidity ratio, taking the 24-hour trading volume and the market cap. This basically tells you what the market thinks now. So looking at Polygon has a trading volume of 417 million in the last 24 hours, which is actually a lot, right? And I just divide this by the market cap. So basically, half of the entire market cap has been traded in 24 hours, which is actually not healthy, in my opinion. Basically, 52% of the market cap has been traded. Right? Sorry, I was getting a call. So 52% of the market cap has been traded. What does that tell you? That tells you a lot of traders a lot of short-term speculators are in Matic because it's not healthy for a project to basically be bought and sold. Because market cap of all of Matic is 800 million. So basically over 400 million of that has been bought or sold in less than 24 hours, meaning that there are lots of traders in it. People are just riding that trade, lots of speculation, right? Ideally, you want to have a project where there are lots of long-term believers in it. This is typically for early coins that have just launched. So for example, if we go to idle finance, for example, let's compare this, right? So in volume, 635,000 versus market cap of 29 million. Right, so let me just do the math on this. Because Matic was basically 52%, idle finance is 2%. So 2% of the market cap. So actually this is very illiquid. So ideally, I would say a good range, this is different for everybody, but for me, a good range is typically minimum 10% of the daily, 10% of the market cap should be traded every day. That means it's a very liquid project. But low cap gems, sometimes you have to kind of sacrifice on that. But in general, though, for me to even get into any project, I look at the 24-hour trading volume and I get 10% of that. So in this case, we have $635,000 in the last 24 hours. 10% of that is basically about $60,000. So I would not put more than 60 grand into any trade order, but ideally probably even just 5%, meaning that you basically cut that in half. So basically 30 grand is probably the maximum trade I would make or buy order I would make on this project. So that's kind of how I use that. Bill, any comments in terms of how you kind of manage getting into different projects with different liquidity levels?
You know, Ian, I think you pretty much covered it. The only thing I would say to new people, even though you said it, I would rephrase it. I know the idea of small coins and a huge 10 or 15x return is exciting, but you also have to make sure that whatever money you put in, that you can get it back out again. So looking at things like volume versus total supply is important. It's a way to check yourself so you don't wreck yourself, because we have heard unfortunate stories of people who got in and were not able to get out. So a word to the wise there. Yeah,
absolutely. Like that model. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And that's how you avoid getting rug pulled, right? Because you want to make sure that whatever you're getting into, as Bill mentioned, is liquid enough for you to get out of it in case of an emergency, right? So for example, in the pandemic, right? When Trump shut down borders for America and nobody could fly in because of COVID, because that same day, because I keep on saying this story because this is probably the best example. I went to sleep probably around 2 or 3 a.m., woke up around 10 a.m., but basically in less than 12 hours, the market had dropped 40%. When you went to sleep and you wake up first thing in the morning and you check your blockfolio, right, 40% down on all your altcoins. Basically in the blink of an eye. So that's basically when liquidity is needed the most. And if you're in this shitcoins, the liquidity can drop real quick. Super quick. So you have to be able to plan ahead and make sure whatever you're getting into is liquid enough for you to get out of it. So it's kind of like that emergency, right? Like break glass, pull out I don't know what, fire extinguisher or axe. You have to make sure that whatever you have, you can get out of it. So that's why I don't really like degen plays, because degen plays are the first thing to dump, where liquidity can go to zero real quick. That's why I haven't really been rug pulled, because the projects and going through all these metrics is designed to help you avoid all these rug pulls, right? Because if you're going into legit projects based on our code reviews, right, that we share with the customers every Tuesday on tokenmetrics.com, if you're getting into solid projects that are liquid and you're managing your risk and you're looking at the liquidity ratio and the trading volume, and you use that to also manage how much money you invest, how can you get rug pulled? Right? That's why, like, people who are getting rug pulled, you either invested way too much, didn't look at the liquidity metrics and the trading volume, right? You overextended yourself. You didn't really practice proper risk management, and as a result, you get rug pulled, right? Because, I mean, first of all, if good projects don't rug pull, so that should filter out probably almost all the rug pull scams. And then factoring in the liquidity and being smart with how you go in and planning how you get out, you should not get rug pulled. But anyway, tell us what you think down below. Okay, let's take from the audience. I see, is that Nikki or Nissy C with a super chat? If someone gave you $1,000 and you wanted to 1000x, what coins would you consider first? This is the 1000x question we get all the time. $1,000 and I wanted to 1000x, what coins would I consider first? Okay, good question. Honestly, I'm trying to 1000x. I'll get the entirety of that $1,000, put that into Ethereum, not Bitcoin, Ethereum, because I think Ethereum is more undervalued, more upside, and it's the future. So first thing, no Bitcoin, all ETH. Then I'll take that ETH and I would allocate 5% of that to invest into low cap projects that we have rated highly, meaning that our team has gone through and done a deep code review on it and it scored over 80%. So for example, but the issue with that is most of these low cap projects are on Ethereum and are on DEXs where gas fees are high. So this might not be the best thing to do with that level of portfolio size. If anything, if I'm doing that, then there are two routes, right? There's one, the quick flip, not really caring about fundamentals, the degen route. If I'm doing that, I would put 1% or less of my portfolio, and I would just chase the hype trade, right? So I would basically not doing investing. I'll be trading, basically trading narratives. So the narrative of this month is Binance. So Binance, maybe I'll go and see what's the hot Binance project that is a good trade. And out of that $1,000, I'd take 1% of that and put that into different projects. So it might be 10 or 20 projects that month or over the course of a few months. But basically, it's degen gambling, but you're managing, not putting in more than 1% of your portfolio, because that's how people get wrecked. The other route would be to use our Token Metrics indices and find the low cap projects. So let's say you want to just use KuCoin. KuCoin has been doing pretty well, I think, with low cap. Let me go to KuCoin here on our indices page. Because low cap here are basically projects. Yeah, so KuCoin low cap weekly index is up 52%. But even this, right? These aren't really low cap. I guess when they made the index, they were low cap. Okay, sorry. This off. Let me turn on low cap. So looking at this, yeah, so KuCoin, Uniswap won't really work with the gas fees. I'll probably just be looking at KuCoin index. So because here you're basically finding low cap projects with a market cap under 30 million, but the winners won't really be there, right? But this would be one approach. This is kind of the passive approach. The other approach would be using our ratings to find quant grade and doing that, and then maybe even doing some IDOs. But so I know what's kind of been popular, right? Let's find that here. And so Poker Starter projects have basically been doing well, but even those are hard to get into. So there's so many different routes to take. But if my goal was to get $1,000, turn that into 1000x, I think you have to take a long-term mindset, get ETH, and they're taking small bets or small trades. And one of them is going to do very well. And whichever one does well, you want to ride that. You basically want to let your winners ride. Once you find a winner, you hold on to that. I'll probably use part of that money to get some helium, because helium has been a good way to actually, one thing I'd factor in, sorry, I'm kind of going, I'm trying to kind of branch out with each idea that comes in my mind. Find good projects like Helium, where you have, it's basically it's an asymmetric investment or trade. Like Helium, you buy a device and you can tenfold your money just by plugging it in and just mining it. Or for example, finding new projects and using them and getting retroactively airdrop the tokens. For example, Uniswap, one inch exchange. Just by using those, you earn tokens. Like the Uniswap airdrop has basically been, I mean, that's basically been 1000x. So recently with our customers, we shared DYDX. The speculation, for example, that they could be some possible token issuance down the road. Hasn't been confirmed. However, lots of people, actually one of our engineers and researchers has been trading on it just in case there's ever any airdrop in the future, retroactively to their users, kind of like one inch exchange and Uniswap. So just different hacks like that. I'll basically do hacks like that, finding projects that are promising, where I think, and I would speculate there would be a retroactive airdrop, finding low cap projects through the indices, finding possible IDOs that are pumping, right? For example, and if you can get into those, get into them, but that's probably going to be more challenging because you're basically kind of finding, you're competing with other investors and traders and speculators. Then finding projects that are listing on these smaller exchanges. So KuCoin, I think, is probably the best for now, because Binance and Coinbase, when something's on Binance and Coinbase, it's too late. Basically, all the gains have been, well, the good gains, the early gains have been made, right? So people are basically moving on. People basically buy on DEXs, or they invest in private sales, or they buy on DEXs and take profits on Coinbase, right? So when you're buying new listings on Coinbase, yes, they might do well long term, but short term, it's that Coinbase effect. It pumps, then it dumps and fizzles out. Then you have to wait a long time for it to pump again. So I would not, with $1,000, that small amount of money, I would not be buying on Coinbase. You're basically buying somebody's bag who's taking profits on you, right? Other investors are dumping on you. So KuCoin, I think, is one, but centralized exchanges, I think that's the play. I think you go there, you buy early projects that you think have potential to make it to Coinbase. That's why I think having good research, whether it's our site, tokenmetrics.com, or other sites, being part of other investor groups, like on Telegram, private groups where you can kind of share deal flow, different projects and research, and find projects early on. You have to really be early. With $1,000 to get 1000x, you have to be early. Once you're early, you have to stay in and ride that for the long term, right? So it's kind of like the projects that have done 1000x, projects like like Binance, BNB. I mean, that one I missed. But 1000x is filled with 1000 crashes. So you have to weather the storm. And doing that is not easy. But I think with the right approach of finding those projects early on, taking small bets, managing risk. If you're just chasing the narrative, put less than 1%. So if you're doing 100 bets, one of them is going to do, actually a lot of them will do 10x. That can work. But as I mentioned before, manage the risk through that. Also looking at the liquidity, but with that small size of a portfolio, liquidity is not really an issue, right? But then finding asymmetric opportunities through mining, through airdrops, and other means. That's kind of my take on that. Bill, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes. So let's talk about what actually happens when something 100x's. When you get in early, you know something that other people will discover later. So you know what they don't. And then all of a sudden, they figure it out, they pile in, and that's how the coin explodes. So the question is, if I had $1,000, what theme can I put it in? What types of coins can I find that would, like, I don't know, make me the keeper of some great secret that everyone else is going to find out about later? Now, Ian mentioned that we have an analyst that came up with this idea for this exchange. He's got another report that went to our customers. And this theme is the future of, say, like derivatives, futures contracts, options, and trading in general done on blockchain and crypto, on Ethereum with low gas fees. Taking Wall Street and futures exchanges, which have been around forever, and effectively disrupting them with blockchain coins that, I don't know, this one coin is like $7, right? So you might have to sit in that. You might have to watch it go from 7 to 6 or 5. You might have to put up with that. I watched it. You know, recently it dumped. I'm like, okay, great. You know, I'm going to grab some of this. Because the one thing about 100X, or the one thing about that $1,000 is if you do get 100X, you will earn it. You will have to sit there. One of the greatest enemies of a trader or an investor is boredom. Is sitting there day after day, watching it do nothing, and the noise machine in your head is having you question what you are doing. So you got to know something other people don't. You got to be willing to earn your money by either waiting or tolerating crashes. And you have to have a theme. You can pick your theme. Maybe it's polka dot coins. Doesn't matter. You'll come up with a theme. But whatever it is, you got to believe in it. Because if you don't believe in it, how do you expect the entire world to come in and buy it so you can get your 100X? So buy it and believe in it, or think about it, buy it and believe in it. And that's how I would do that strategy.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So next super chat from CB. Curious about your thoughts on the T-Core on BSC and ETH. Know anything about it? Thanks. No, unfortunately, I don't know much about that one. We'll have to look into it. Okay. Live stream is buffering. Live stream seems to be working fine. Looking at this on my end on YouTube. But if anybody else is having any issues, just let us know. Steve says DYDX is one of the hype projects. How can we get in? Well, I mean, right now it's speculation that there will be a token, but there has been no formal announcement. But basically, if I pull up my screen here, going to DeFi Pulse, if we go to Dexes, not Dexes, lending, yeah, DYDX, right? It's the sixth cryptocurrency based on total value locked. So right now there's about 263 million in DYDX, right? If we click on it here. So our team is looking into this, and we did share this with our customers last week. So hopefully that was helpful. There was a pretty in-depth report going through why we think this could be next. It's backed by good investors. If you go down, Polychain Capital and some others. And it's really one of the composable protocols or assets on the DeFi stack. Lots of DeFi protocols use it, right? As you see here, also Andreessen Horowitz invested. So we think this could be next, right? So speculation that they could possibly launch a token. If they do that, that would be huge. I mean, obviously, I don't know why they wouldn't do it. Probably more for legal reasons. But I think if they can do it like Uniswap did, because Uniswap was also backed by Andreessen Horowitz and some others, I believe, right? So kind of the same backers. So I think, to me, it's the no-brainer play. So if they ever issue a token and it's done through an airdrop retroactively, that's how you do it, right? Because if you just made one single trade on Uniswap and on each exchange, no matter the fees, I think you earn tokens, right? So I think that's how, because if you find that and you hold, that's the play, honestly. But there's so many different ways to do it. Okay, let me see if there are any other questions. Wow, so many questions here. Javed says, any thoughts on Uniswap? It's blowing up right now. No thoughts right now. I was looking into QuickSwap though, which was building on Matic or Polygon. When will you do an NFT album with Drew with staking rewards for TM members? I haven't thought about that one, but hey, we'll keep our options open. Okay, some people are saying streaming has issues. Maybe try reducing the quality of the stream, because right now I'm streaming in HD. So if your ISP or connection can't handle that, maybe just decrease to like 720 or 360. Hopefully that should resolve the issue. Because here on my end, I'm not having any issues looking at the stream on YouTube. Okay, anyway, let's go back to the AMA here. So we'll try to kind of avoid doing project reviews right now because we don't really have the time to do anything in depth. So I'm going to skip that. Okay, your thoughts about unstoppabledomains.com, the GoDaddy of crypto. Do you think it has a good future? I think there's definitely a future in it. I'm not sure if it's going to be big, but I think eventually being able to give people easy links such as your name.eth, and that's kind of basically your wallet address. I know Coinbase already has that functionality, but there's lots of competition around this. I know there's is it Handshake, which also is doing DNS and things like that. So I'm not sure who's going to win that race, but I think it's something that might be needed in the future, but not something I'm paying too much attention into. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Unfortunately, I have not looked into that one, so I can't really. Let's. Okay, here's a question. So Binance's CZ views CDeFi, which is basically centralized DeFi, a complement, not a competitor to DeFi. Okay, I can see that. Because I don't think Binance or BNB and CDeFi is going away anytime soon. And we do believe in CDeFi. We actually invested in Alchemy Network back in 2019. We're equity investors in them, and they're basically doing the same thing. They're trying to bring liquidity from DeFi and kind of bridge that to liquidity with centralized institutions, right? So think of them as kind of like a almost private label or white label. I'll say compound, right? Being able to kind of partake in DeFi. They let institutions partake in DeFi. So we think this is definitely something that is needed to bridge the gap between DeFi and CeFi, especially when it comes to regulation, right? If there's a way for institutions to be able to partake in DeFi in a compliant manner, that is big. Now, whether Binance or CZ is at the pinnacle of that, I think for now, obviously they are because of Smart Chain and just them being big and now being the third biggest project in all of crypto. They've definitely seen a problem in the market and taken full advantage to solve it. And for now, until Ethereum can solve scaling, they're basically kings of CDeFi. And the market has voted and said, yes, we like it right now, right? Now, maybe that's because of speculation and making money and trading. That remains to be seen. But until Ethereum can solve their gas issues, anybody who's not a whale will be using Pancake Swap and CDeFi, I believe. Bill, what do you think?
I think there's a difference between bringing centralized or big legacy entities into DeFi, providing a bridge. So if that's defined as, that's called like DeFi with guidance, not centralized DeFi, right? CZ is basically talking about, he's putting a nice coating or a nice flavoring on, an altcoin casino, which there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think it has anything to do with DeFi itself, right? Allowing institutions in the legacy world to come in and participate in decentralized finance is one thing. CZ opening up a protocol that allows smaller investors to get involved and speculate, because again, speculating is good. It spurs innovation. It lets people raise money. Yes, some people get wrecked, but it does allow, people with low funds to learn crypto and get involved. So I don't believe in his language like it's centralized DeFi. It's, it's easy access to cool altcoins that happen to be in the DeFi space, right? And good for him and good for them. And as you said, the market's voted. Just don't mistake, a guy allowing people to invest and speculate with the idea of letting legacy money come into a decentralized finance system, because decentralized finance is the future of finance. CZ is the present solution to a trading and gambling problem in small coins.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So super chat here we missed. Basically, the Legato Fox is saying ONX Finance is releasing their lending platform February 22nd. Thoughts on the project and TA if possible. Okay, let's get Bill to pull up TA for that. That's ONX. I've not looked at the project, so can't really do any deep fundamental analysis on that. But let's see if we can do TA on that when Bill pulls that up. Okay, so as Bill's pulling that up here, I think we'll be wrapping things up here with Bill, and then we can go into the overtime session. And if you're enjoying the stream, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, get them into crypto, get them into token metrics. Let's get them into Noah's Ark, because crypto is the future of finance, future of money, and not being in crypto at this point is a financial crime. So tell your friends and tell them to tell a friend, and let's all go to the moon together.
Okay, here comes ONX versus Wrapped ETH on Uniswap. So I guess we're just going to temporarily assume that ONX that ETH isn't going to go anywhere, and let's try to look at this on its own merits. Okay, you can see a couple times here that there have been instances where people have given up on this in particular, right? Now, when I start to see this type of action where sellers will slam it down, but there'll be stability and then buyers will come back in, that means people want this. And if I could look at it just like, say, versus Tether, I bet you would see a base forming. And at Token Metrics, the saying is, the bigger the base, the longer it coils at the bottom end of the range, the higher in the space. So this does look like an altcoin that has potential to take off, particularly since it looks like a lot of people have given up on it.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay. All right. Well, Bill, any summary as we wrap up the show?
Friends, this week I learned about the things that were truly important. Things that you might ordinarily take for granted. So I recommend that, if you're having a tough day in crypto, grab a pencil and a piece of paper and write down one thing you're grateful for. It'll help clear your mind, and it'll help you, especially if you're confronted with something that's very challenging, whether it's a storm or whether it's something in your portfolio. But just do that one gratitude a day, and we'll see you next week.
Bill, see you next week, and be sure to join tokenmetrics.com if you haven't yet. Update email this coming week. Should be good. Take care.
Landed on the moon in the Lambo.
All right. Time for an overtime session. Also doing a joint live stream on IG. Hey, what's up, IG? Live stream, joint live stream. So the overtime session. So if you want to see my screen, go to /tokenmetrics, youtube.com/tokenmetrics. But yeah, so let's see what questions we can answer here. If you're enjoying this live stream, be sure to smash the like buttons. I mean, Ethereum still, I believe, over 50,000. $1 trillion. So here's a question. I'm going to kind of pick questions that are good to answer here. All right. So a question here from the Ask Token Metrics AMA. What are the hidden gems that you have in your portfolio? Well, honestly, I believe everything I'm holding. I mean, that's tough holding it, because you want to invest in things that are undervalued, and by definition, being the market has not the value, the true value of that project, making that a hidden gem. So, I mean, everything is a hidden gem. I mean, even Ethereum is a hidden gem. Why? Because I think Ethereum is undervalued and it is the next Bitcoin. I think Ethereum is better than Bitcoin. That's why I think it's undervalued. That's why I think it's a hidden gem, because everybody's, but Ethereum is the real player. Ethereum, to me, no Bitcoin team, basically much of ETH max, because all the projects on ETH actually work. In DeFi, they're working. Right? So, like, that one I'm very bullish on. Right now, Tornado Cash. I mean, Tornado Cash, that one I'm very on. The market cap is somewhat high, but let me pull it up here on CoinGecko. If you're on IG, just go to YouTube screen. But basically, I got bucks or 210. Now it's basically pushing 100. Start. But once again, projects long term. We're not looking for projects. We're trying to find the next Ethereum, the next Chainlink, the next Aave, the next Synthetics. These are projects that eventually, because let's say we have this bull run, we go to the moon and then it dumps. There's a huge correction. The market corrects 75%, even 90%, because last bull run and bear market, even Bitcoin corrected 85%. Ethereum corrected like 90%. Even the best of the best gets wrecked. But that's fine. What matters the most is being able to find those projects and bounce back. That's as well, right? Projects that can get wrecked, bounce back, and go past their prior all-time high. Because where people get wrecked is they invest in projects that do have highs, get wrecked, but never ever go past their all-time high ever again. And projects that do that are basically shitcoins. We want to avoid investing in shitcoins. So we want something that is nice and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. Meaning that I would rather invest in a project that is slow and steady, like Helium, right? If we go to Helium Network, let me type this in here. Right now, market cap is 133. It's basically at $4. So I've been mining this for, at this point, a year and a half. It's been slow and steady. Hasn't been sexy, flashy, but if you're mining it, you're making bank. If you're in a big city with a miner, you're making bank. People are making couple grand a month just mining that. So somebody was saying earlier, hidden gem. That, because the device costs $400. You plug it in. Like if you're downtown in a big city, you should have a miner, because that's easy money. So let's go to 3 Helium, right? Because I bought some more on exchanges, and when I bought, it was at 25 cents. So let's zoom into the right. Basically, from 25 cents, it's basically done a 20x. If you got in around 20 cents, yeah, 20x on Helium. Helium is a solid project. Going away. How can I definitively say that? Right? You're saying, Ian, that's BS. Because I've done my research, right? When you do your research on a deep level, your faith is unquestionable, because the real value, the real alpha is finding these projects and being the only person on an island who believes in them. But you can stay there on an island with no food, no water, because you've done your research and you know this is the island to be on, right? And you know the whole world will have to eventually, but at the end of the day, they're coming back to this island because this is the spot. right? And how do I do that? Research, right? That's why we have Token Metrics. I think it's what, network.helium.com. I'm typing this in here. YouTube.com/Token Metrics to view my screen. Actually, not. I can type. Sorry, I'm multitasking here with the mic in my face. Okay, so if we go to network.com, okay, redirects to helium.com. They are 18,000 hotspots. For a second, there is network, a decentralized Internet of Things network. I mean, these are 18,000 people, 18,000 devices worldwide. This map loads, right? So let's kind of plan this out. Let's say Bitcoin goes to 100K, Ethereum goes to what, $5,000, go to the moon and beyond. Then everything crashes and corrects 80%, 90%. Guess what? Once you have all these, hey, I love Polkadot. Great technology, great tech. It's just not ready. Polkadot is going through ICO boom bust hype cycle because nothing on this Polkadot is not ready yet. I mean, so all these Polkadot ICOs, they're quick flips. Get in, get out. Don't fall in love with them. Don't wipe them up. Just make your money. Treat that as a trade. Put in less than 1% of your portfolio into that. At most 1%, right? So, but guess what? Polkadot IDLs, they're done. Do you know why? Nobody can actually use them. They're raising money, right? That tells you to know, right? It's a short-term speculation trade. Get in, get out. Yes, they're profitable. They can 100x, but guess what? They're not going to go back to their all-time high anytime soon. I mean, just go through 2017, and that's the best example. All those ICOs, Dragon Chain. Dragon Chain did a Dragon Chain now. I mean, even Icon project, but anymore. The market gets better. Now we have Polkadot. Now we have Cosmos, Polygon. So all these projects, are they going to be around? Are they going to bounce back? You want to buy something that's going to bounce? Other hotspots will bounce back. The whole market can correct. If there's a new strain of COVID that's even worse, guess what? Everything crashes, and we're going into a 2-year bear market. But once that bear market is over and there's a bull, these 18,000 hotspots will bounce back, because this is the fundamental research that you look into and gives you the confidence. Island by yourself. This is it. That's why I think Helium is a hidden gem. And they just launched. If you go to this, actually, even more Helium. So I did put in an application to become a validator. So if you go to Helium, so I put in my application. I'll see what happens. If I get accepted, I'll be hidden gem, right? Other hidden gem I mentioned earlier, Tornado. Alec is a Tornado Cash user. We shared this if you're a customer in the Pro plan, we shared in the private alerts channel, like all these 10 tweets of Vitalik. I mean, sorry, not Helium. Come up here. Just give me 1 second. But I mean, Vitalik. So, and I had no before I was bullish on this project, but that makes me even more bullish. Let me see if I can pull up these tweets. Okay, so here's one. There are 10 tweets. I can pull all of them up, but I'll pull up a couple. I'll pull up maybe 2 here. Okay, so let's see what this says. Yeah, so here's a tweet, him responding to somebody on Twitter. I've used Tornado Cash MetaMask. So he's definitely big on privacy. Then here's a second. Sure, he's taking. Okay, so here's the analysis on Tornado Cash. Vitalik is very privacy on Ethereum, and I think obviously not every project he backs is going to do. Was our get into Coinbase, and they did deliver good returns. But the fact that Vitalik is a user of this, that's one hidden gem. Then I like Idle, but Idle has not been faring too well. But let me actually Amar. I think Amar.fi. This is a hidden gem. I've been staking this for a week or two, right? But the APY, 232%. If you stake their Uniswap LP tokens. So I already have Ethereum. I already have Amar. Really makes a lot of sense because sorry, people are saying there's a lag. Okay, not sure what's going on, but anyway, Amar I think is a hidden gem because if we go to the market cap on this is also very low, but the actual is very, very good, right? Market cap under 30 million. Code review on this was good, and we've kind of shared this with the customers in the private alerts, but I think this is going to be big. Not sure how big, but I think I'm bullish on this, and the staking I'm basically double dipping. I mean, this is basically cheating. I mean, but hey, we get this money while we can, because basically finding a good project, low cap, and earning 232% in that token. I mean, how easy can it get? So this is why I at loss is not really an issue, because as mentioned before earlier with that graph example, if a project, the pair is ETH and Amar. If Amar does a 5x, you basically lose 25%. But they're paying you 232% on that money. So I mean, I'll take that 25% L to make this, right? To basically triple your money almost. So plus this is a token that's undervalued. Hey, do it X, because market cap 30 million, and it's basically a much more improved version of Nexus Mutual, which has a market cap, I believe, almost $500 million. Yeah, almost $500 million market cap. So if this is first in the market, if this is the category leader, and Amar is, let's say it does a 10x, becomes 300 million. This becomes number 2 in terms of, right? So I think this can do 5 to 10x. Like on the low end, 5x, high end, 10x, anything above that, even better. So very, very bullish on this. Plus the staking, this is cheating. Literally, I mean, obviously not cheating, but I mean, this is, because imagine getting whatever, let's say, how much do I have here? But let's say you put in 10 grand, then you earn 232% on that. Obviously, this is won't be sustained long term, but basically 19% each month on this. Those tokens you're earning do a 10x. This is how you get those 10x, even 50x returns, even 100x returns, right? If you do a dip with staking and yield farming. So very, very, very. What other project do I like? Polygon I mentioned. That one is higher market cap, almost $1 billion now. But Matic and Polygon I think is going to be big. I think it's going to get to at least Avalanche in terms of market cap. Okay. Benchmark protocol. We had the AMA on the 100x show with Kurt Euler, the COO. So the reason why I like Benchmark is this is a hedge versus actually your entire portfolio. It's basically insurance on your portfolio because you have an asset that's, and basically a rebase coin, can do well despite the volatility in the market. And I think what in terms of factoring in the VIX and the SDR, basically a basket of other currencies around the world, so de-risking from the dollar and volatility in crypto. So their pools are also 122% APY. Yeah, as you see here, I have 3% of the pool for ETH and Mark. But I mean, so basically the hidden gems to me are projects with code score on Token Metrics over 80%, market cap that's low, ideally under 30 million, but sometimes you have to get into projects like Tornado now is market cap 120 million, right? I got in when it was like 30 million. But actually, let's put in Mark on CoinGecko and see where they're doing. So market cap is 17 million. 17 million, good code review. Because this is a rebase coin, you can't really look at the price. You have to, right? But the good thing is to tell you the market cap here, right? So this is done 545% in 1 month. I mean, that's what we call.
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
Right, so we're earning 545% in a month on this cryptocurrency, and we're yield farming, earning 122%. Right, that's saying, because this is a project I think very, very undervalued. $17 million market cap. Just think about that. This is peanuts compared to Ampleforth. Ampleforth market cap is $500 million too, I think. Yeah, 472 million. So let's categorically it, because Ampleforth still has the best technology based on our code reviews. Ampleforth scored like over 90%. So Benchmark protocol becomes number 2 or even number 3. I think it can definitely do a 10x from here. So to me, this and the yield farming, hidden gem. What other hidden gems do I have? There are a lot more, but I think that's a good start, right? We have a few more. I mean, I mentioned earlier we just hired a new code reviewer to help in and kind of help us cover even more projects a lot faster. So we should be gems soon. So this Tuesday's newsletter put out our code reviews. We've been doing about 5 projects each week. So now with this new person, bump that up to maybe 15 projects every week, doing in-depth code reviews. That way we find the hidden gems early, because I mean, these are good, but kind of going back to recap my strategy, 2021, I'm all in on Ethereum, and I'm basically getting 5% of my portfolio and putting that into projects that have a good market cap, ideally under 10 million, but that's kind of very hard to find right now, especially early on, unless you're basically investing in the private sale. And I'm not really doing private sales anymore because there's no liquidity, right? It take forever to launch and issue that token. So right now, liquidity to me is the because even that way anybody can find those projects and invest in, right? So, but basically, projects with a low market cap under 30 million, ideally, I would say now, and then basically 2%, and having a yield farming or staking program paying out more than 100%, I think is ideal. Obviously, getting it while the getting is good makes sense, and then put all those together is how you get the 10x and then more. You weather the storm, because these are products that will last and bounce, reach time high after any bear market, in my opinion. And those are what I call the hidden gems. Okay, all right. Let me check in here with the comments and see how we're doing. Apologies, seems some people with the stream buffering. Not sure exactly what's going on here. But let me see if I can get comments. So cap, Poker starter, major lag, no issues. Okay, I'm sorry, not sure what's going on here. Let me. Okay, other people are saying they're having no issues with the stream. So it seems like some people are, some people are not. Maybe if you could comment. Just give me 1 second, guys. Let me check with our producer to see if there's anything I can help. Yeah, because we didn't have any issue before, so not sure why just now. Let me see if quitting some apps will help with this. Below, if you're still having lag, to see, okay, is my bandwidth? I mean, I have good bandwidth. Close my tabs. I had too many tabs. Okay, so if I says lag, it's I don't think so it should not be having any issues in lagging. But anyway, apologies for that. Maybe I might just kind of come back and redo this. Head, yeah, I mean, it is hot. I mean, hey, those gains are hot. Okay, so still lagging. Okay, apologies, everybody. Okay, Philip says if some people can see the stream fine and others cannot, it's probably YouTube having some infrastructure problems. Okay, yeah, possibly. But we're streaming. Okay, so how about this? If you're having, let me actually try this and see if this is, because we have tokenmetrics.com/live. Any streaming issues? Hey, what's up, IG? How you doing? No lag on IG. Signal is good, but okay, even that is not working. Okay, I guess that we're not. Anyway, apologies, everybody. I think here we'll just wrap things up here with the producer. Then I'll come back and just kind of, yeah, I'll try rebooting my router on my end and see if that fixes it, and I'll just do a live stream on my end. Okay, but so coming back in basically 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, thank you, everybody. Be sure to smash the like buttons, because I mean, this is why. Thank you for everything, and as we like to say,
We just landed on the moon in a Lambo.
The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond. Back in 10. Thank you.
Slow. I won't slow you down. I'll try to hold you down. My eyes are open now. Won't slow you down. Won't slow you down. She want me never on the road, and yet I get her when I go. Want me forever getting close, but like me better when I close now. So many meetups gotta hold down. So many meetings on the road now. I gotta leave her for the show, but she really saying no. She believe I gotta slow. Just try to know. I need a moment on an island, no. I need to know where every vibe can go. I need a moment where the time is slow, but she told me slow down on crypto. She doesn't know this is it though. Need a vacation from the big show. Need a vacation from the get-go. She told me slow down on crypto. The market is a gift go. I get more. I'm living on the world tour to score more. Retired from the board floor. I'm more for it. They're telling me to slow down, but not now. The minute that it goes down, I buy out. Got another tour stop, but never where the tour stop. I just tried it now. I need a moment on an island though. I need to know where every vibe can go. I need a moment where the time is slow, but she told me slow down on crypto. She doesn't know this is it though. Need a vacation from the big show. Need a vacation from the get-go. She told me slow down on crypto. She doesn't know this is it though. Need a vacation from the big show. Need a vacation from the get-go. She told me slow down on I won't slow you down. I'll try to hold you down. My eyes are open now. Won't slow you down. Won't slow you down.
Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.